Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, on this beautiful Tibbs Eve from Mount Pearl, Newfoundland and Labrador. Welcome to Tales with TR. I'm your host, Terry Ryan Jr. Glad to be with you today, and I'll tell you that I said Tibbs Eve. A lot of you don't know what I'm talking about, but in Newfoundland, it's a big thing. It's December 23rd. I'm sure if you guys have listened to my recent podcast, you've heard me talk to a friend of the show, David Whitty, guest to the show a few weeks ago about it. He's playing tonight, and that's usually my thing. It's not going to change. So, yeah, it's a time of, all Christmas is get-together time, right? I think in most places, even if you're not into Jesus or whatever religion you are, if you're in North America, I can't speak for everywhere, but you celebrate Christmas time, right? Celebrate Christmas time. People are going, oh, fuck. Why can't we say Merry Christmas anymore? Why is it all Happy Holidays? Well, you can say Merry Christmas. Why can't you? I say Merry Christmas. I say both without thinking about it. I don't think there's any need to be politically correct. Is that even Merry Christmas? It's a Christmas thing. If you're not religious or you weren't brought up Catholic like myself, not that I'm religious now, but there's coming from a Christian place, I guess. We all celebrate that. But I think where we are here in I don't mean in just space, geography, but time. I think you can say just about anything. If someone said Happy Hanukkah to me and I was amongst a bunch of people that celebrated it, why would I care? So I do believe we still can say Merry Christmas. We can say Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, whatever the fuck we want to say. Today I'm saying Merry Christmas. Putting my foot fucking down and saying Merry Christmas and all of the above. So it's great that you're with us, me and my cat. Princess. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go through some of my favorite holiday movies. Now, I definitely have nailed down a top 10. I said I wasn't gonna, but I can't put them in order because I don't really know. It's all so much opinion. But I think I could come to a top 10. I'm gonna throw in some honorable mentions, of course. This is only going to be movies, film. Okay, it's not going to be TV shows. If I was going to include TV shows, I would go with Festivus for the Rest of Us. My favorite. There's a bunch of Seinfeld Christmas episodes, but I think a lot of people remember that one. To me, it was the most iconic, and the whole concept. I love Seinfeld, and I was laughing the whole episode. Penny Lane and I just watched all the Christmas Seinfeld episodes, and she agreed with me, having never seen them before. Okay. I would also say Letterkenny Christmas, The Three Wise Men. I believe it's season 7. If not, it's season 6. Speaks for itself. Check it out if you haven't. I love that Christmas episode. And also Curb Your Enthusiasm. I think it's season 7 as well. I'm not really sure, but it's the same. It's not The Three Wise Men. It's Larry David. You know what? Hold on. You're fucking listening to me. I might as well know what I'm talking about. I'm going to look this up. Episode 9, season 3. He gets into it. There's a nativity scene, and he and Jesus, Mary, and Joseph get into it a little bit. There's a lot going on. Anyway, I'm not going to get into all these. My top 10, I'll go do a little bit of a deep dive. But anyway, those are my 3 favorite TV. Now, I guess a Charlie Brown's Christmas would be in there. I can set it over. But I suppose it's a TV thing. I don't know. Charlie Brown, I don't think was a TV show. I think it was just like Christmas and Halloween specials and stuff. Maybe I'm wrong. I didn't come here to talk about that, so I won't dive into that. Maybe look it up. So, and they used to come on TV all the time. I don't remember going to the theater. So I classify in my head Charlie Brown, all of that a TV thing because it came on TV. But maybe because they're all like longer than a little sitcom, and I don't recall there being that. So anyway, I'm going to put Charlie Brown's Christmas in a movie. Those are my 3 favorite TV episodes. If I haven't said it 5,000 fucking times, quit rambling, host Terry. Okay, here we go. Now, I'm going to pepper in the odd honorable mention. Okay, so I understand that a lot of people would put It's a Wonderful Life at number 1 or close to number 1. It's a Wonderful Life came out in 1946. Okay, it's James Stewart, what an iconic actor. we're up there with any of them. A lot of people probably would notice the names. I don't know, Fred Astaire or Cary Grant or Humphrey Bogart. Humphrey Bogart. And Humphrey Bogart was in, Maltese Falcon, one of my favorite old movies. Anyway, I'm going off. So It's a Wonderful Life. A dude is a dude, a man who's clearly going through some stuff because at points he's on the verge of suicide. I think you can get that from the trailer. I'm not giving that away. And, he meets an angel that reminds him, the good parts of life. Now, I think you can get that from the trailer. It's iconic. If you haven't seen it, I hope I didn't give anything away, but definitely iconic. And I'm just giving you my favorites. If I was to think what's critically acclaimed and I was here and was to give you the top rated 10 Christmas movies, it would be a different argument. I'd have to really start thinking about it. Not that I don't like It's a Wonderful Life. It's just, to me, there's a lot. It's 1946. It's a little dated. It's wonderful for the time it came out. I would watch it again, no problem. It's one of the best Christmas movies, no doubt, for many, many reasons. And it was the first of its kind and really broke some boundaries and got great actors and all of that. But I'm just not putting it in my top 10. Okay. I don't know where it would be. Maybe number 18, maybe number 30 if I really thought about it. But it's not in my top 10. Another one that's not in my top 10, but you should check out. A lot of people, because Bing Crosby sings White Christmas, and it's one of the most iconic songs ever. And I believe it was the highest selling single of all time until Diana, Candle in the Wind, version 2. A lot of it might have happened since then. That was the late 90s. But I know that it's still one of the top selling singles ever. I know that, if not number one. But a lot of people think because Bing Crosby was in the movie White Christmas, that was where it came from, but it wasn't. White Christmas was first introduced to a world audience in the movie Holiday Inn. And that is a little love triangle kind of Christmassy movie. Bing Crosby, Fred Astaire, Marjorie Reynolds, Virginia Dale. You should check that out if you haven't. Now, yes, it's the 1940s. I forget what year. It's way, 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 way back. But it's worth checking out. It's worth taking an hour and a half and donating because it is a great movie. I'm going to put Elf up there. Will Ferrell, a fucking fantastic Christmas movie that I watch with Penny Lane, not every year, but Tyson did every year. When it came out, I was in my 20s and fucking loved it, still do, but it just doesn't crack my top 10. I really liked Miracle on 34th Street. A mall Santa basically claims to be Santa, and that's a fantastic movie. I grew up watching that and really enjoying it again. Just a little dated for me, and those who are a little bit older, especially older than me, that are sitting here listening to me not put Miracle on 34th Street or It's a Wonderful Life in the top 10 are probably yelling at the screen or the speaker. But yeah, I really, really liked it. But I'm not putting it in my top 10. Could be number 13. Wouldn't be any lower than number 35. I know that. Probably not lower than number 30. But it's not going in my top 10. Now, A Christmas Carol, 1951. Okay, now this is the first that I know. I could look this up. All of these I did a slight bit. I mean, a lot of these I watched, and like I said, I did folklore in school. A lot of that stories and storytelling. So like learning all the iconic movies in the eyes of people, I guess, that are judging them, like critics or whatever, is one thing, and then eventually there's a common denominator. Not everything is for the critics. But, everybody likes, say, Christmas Vacation. I'll get that in a bit. There's things that are part of both worlds. But anyway, A Christmas Carol would be considered definitely, I think, the first mainstream take on that story of the same name by Charles Dickens, right? And you see introduced to Scrooge, Alistair Jim. I didn't know his name. I mean, it's in my head. I've never seen him in anything else because it's so old. But he plays Scrooge and or Jim Alistair, I guess. Jesus, Alistair Jim. It's Christmassy. It's definitely a little darker take on Ebenezer Scrooge. But I mean, what is he? He's a fucking billionaire, greedy fuck. So I just thought, if nothing else, watch it for his performance. Okay, not to sound too like much of a thespian, but it is worth watching for sure. Okay, I know I got some other honorable mentions here somewhere, but I'm just going to get into these first. Okay, so these next few are in my top 10. Which order? I'm not sure. Now, where will I start? Christmas Vacation. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Okay, now, Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, I think, is the best of the vacation movies, of the Lampoon movies, which, if you really think about it, I think it's the third or fourth installment in that series. So it's the second or third sequel. And I think it's like by far the best one. So there's that. There's Chevy Chase, really at the peak of his career. Those who don't know, I love Weekend Update on Saturday Night Live. Penny Lane and I always watch Weekend Update, even like the ones from the past. While we're eating supper sometimes or whatever, if we're waiting to go in the morning or warming the car up, we'll throw on Saturday Night Live, and a lot of times Weekend Update. And Chevy Chase, started that whole thing, and he was around when Saturday Night Live was in its early years, formative years, and not that I was old enough to remember that, but I remember like in 85, 86, 87, he started to do movies. Funny Farm was one I don't even hear anybody talk about anymore. I thought that was really funny. The Fletch movies, right? I'd say 10, 11 years old when these came out, 12. And they were, I thought, hilarious. And they were some of the first movies that you could get on VHS. So if I often try to explain to people, like a movie like, say, Rocky came out in, I think, 1978, say around there, Star Wars, they're all Jaws. They all came out around the time I was born in 77. But even if it would come out, it would be out of the theater. There was no way to watch it. So like by the time I was 5, 6, 7, then it was the early, like there was like Laserdisc type of thing. I can't remember what you called it. Laserdisc type of thing. And then then it was Betamax and VHS tapes came in. And even then, right, you could either buy the thing, which wasn't even available at first, or like Blockbuster Video went through the roof. There was no streaming it or anything. So like, I remember when it came out, like, in movies like the ones I just mentioned in the mid 80s, when we got that technology, like, my father say it was only like the second time that he'd seen Rocky, right? When I saw it. So, there was, because again, unless it came on TV and you were watching and you tuned in to watch and you didn't have you couldn't PVR it. It just came out at a certain time. I mean, that lasted right up until until the 2000s. I just spoke of Seinfeld. You knew to tune in on Thursday night. Seinfeld and Friends were on, and they always used to throw shows that they thought had a chance and were like maybe bubbling under, like either before or after the Seinfeld and Friends. But it was Thursday night, must see TV, right? I don't know, 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock on Thursday night, prime time. And that's what you would do. And if you missed it, right, again, the DVDs were out and things, but not like that. It didn't come out immediately. Right around the end of, the late 90s, early 2000s, that started to be like a regular thing. But DVDs existed in like 92, 93, 94, but you couldn't, it just wasn't as available. And unless you bought a whole show, which everybody didn't do, then you didn't have that luxury. So really what my father used to do was like, I'd be on the road and Senior would record, like we'd wait for Seinfeld to come on or whatever, record it and put a bunch together. And it was also in syndication after like season 4 or 5. So then there was reruns coming on. There were reruns. And he would, record them and then send them down. And me and the boys would watch them on the bus. And I remember doing that a lot. And the boys just loving it. And that, that was in Colorado Springs. But last year Boise, Orlando, my last year's playing, we all did that. So I don't think even to buy them were as readily available until right after that. But anyway, I don't know why that came up with me talking about Christmas Vacation, but Chevy Chase, like, I just think he's an iconic figure, and I think it's one of his, if not his funniest movie. And not just because of him, there's, Eddie, Randy Quaid. I remembered as I was typing it in, Randy Quaid. And his brother Dennis Quaid, I believe, big time actor as well. Anyway, Randy Quaid, I think, steals the show like Val Kilmer steals the show in Tombstone. Not that Kurt Russell in Tombstone and the rest of the cast doesn't deliver just great performances, but Kilmer, I think, is one of the best supporting actors ever in that role. And again, it's all opinion. But I think for me, Cousin Eddie, Randy Quaid, really, really, I'm not going to say steals the whole movie, but he really steals some scenes for sure. And I think you look back, a lot of movies came out, but you look at TikTok and there's it's really what's the word? Those clips. You still put it out there, and it's retweetable. It's repostable. And people still find a lot of it funny. I guess what is the measure of funny? It's only opinion, but to me, it's like the Beatles music, right? Like it's still, and not just them, I'm just using them because they're my favorite. They pop into my head. But, you still hear a lot of the songs, and they don't sound dated. And so a great comedy, I think, right? You could, a new generation would still be able to see the humor in it. And I think there's oodles of humor in Christmas Vacation and the the story and all of that. So that would be in my top 10. Trading Places, okay? I know right there I lost a lot of you. 95% of you knew Christmas Vacation and probably already saw it. When I say Trading Places, I bet you I lost 20 to 30% of even knowing what I was talking about. So that 80s, Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy. And Aykroyd is a multimillionaire. And Eddie Murphy is a hobo, basically. And I believe Aykroyd is like running a company or whatever it is. He's the head honcho. He's worth, I don't think they say, but let's say in today's world, definitely billions. He's one of those. And I won't say the circumstances, but they trade places only for a brief time. What ends up happening, of course, you can imagine the directions that could go in. Now, it's funny. It's also a bit dramatic. I think it explains Christmas for a lot of people. I think there's a lot of metaphors going on that definitely are Christmas themes that you don't always see in, say, the movies I mentioned, A Wonderful Life, Miracle on 34th Street, all of that. Not even Christmas Vacation. I think this is a unique take on a situation that a lot of people have dreamt of but never really had a chance to experience. Okay, Trading Places, and it's also absolutely hilarious. So that would definitely be on my list. Now, The Muppet Christmas Carol, before you laugh, yes, it's a deadly fucking movie. Jim Henson, The Muppet Christmas Carol. But Jim Henson, now I've just so many times growing up, and there's not a whole lot of like adult films, or sorry, kids films that I think really at least half of it's written for the adults as well. I just love it. It's good for any age. You can get lost in nostalgia watching it if you watch it right now, or growing up when I watched it when I was right in the wheelhouse. It made me laugh. It made me cry. Well, it didn't make me cry. Maybe it did because it's got those kind of moments. It's a fantastic movie. But again, I'm putting that right outside of my top 10 because if you come to Jim Henson, if you talk about Jim Henson holiday movies, now I know that I'm going to lose 70% of what's left. What I'm about to say, only 5% of you, I think, are going to have any fucking idea what I'm talking about. Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas, okay? I don't know. I'm thinking this came out in the late 70s. It's only a Google search, but that's not important right now, okay? What's important is that it came out when I was born in 77. So, 2, 3 years old, start to be your first memories. And this came on every Christmas constantly. So I watched and I watched and I watched. And as I got older, going back and, certain things get outdated. And it's so, it's Muppets, not the Muppets. Kermit's in it. I think it might predate the Muppet Show. I believe so. If not, it's right around that time. Okay, so the Muppets and the whole Jim Henson, that whole Muppet world. I suppose Sesame Street was on the go, but it's still early in the evolution of the Muppets. And there's some great characters that you won't see again. The River Bottom Band, I think, are hilarious right off the bat. And it's Emmett Otter and his mom, and they want some money for Christmas. And there's like a talent show, and it's $50 up on the line, and they're just really looking forward to getting the $50. And Emmett and his mom say, okay, we're going to put together a jug band and we're going to enter the competition with the River Bottom Gang. And it's only short. It's only about an hour and change. But Jeff Merrick actually mentioned it the other day on the Jason Greger show. And it was the first time I heard anybody other than my close friends that were like at my house watching it growing up. I never heard anybody mention it ever until he mentioned it. And they asked him his favorite Christmas movie, and he put it up there. Now, that's Jeff Merrick. So, if nothing, you guys know that this is a smart, articulate, well-rounded person who's not a total buffoon, okay? So, I know that until this point, you've probably been saying, come on, Terry, like, what are you talking about? Emmett Otter's Christmas. No, there are other people that love it. And so far, that other person that I know is Jeff Merrick, and he loves it. So please give it a chance. If not, if nothing else, I'm sure there must be YouTube clips. I've seen it 1,000 times, but check it out. Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas, and I'm telling you, it'll be one of the best Christmas movies you'll ever see. So now, there's 3, right? That's 3 Christmas movies I've mentioned. Well, I've mentioned more, but those are. So we've got Christmas Vacation, we've got Trading Places, and we've got Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. Those are my 3 now. Number 4, some of you are going to, I know that this is probably brought up in your house, and you're going to go, is it a Christmas movie? Is it not a Christmas movie? There's more later on the list, trust me, that you're going to go, that's no way that's a Christmas movie. But it's my show, it's my list, and I'm putting it out there. So I'm saying it is a Christmas movie, and that, of course, everybody knows by now, is Die Hard. Die Hard, I think, is a Christmas movie. It's Bruce Willis at his peak. It was, I don't know, again, maybe there had to be Christmas movies that are filled with action. If you haven't seen it, think Rambo at Christmas in I forget what city it would be. Geez, I've seen that a lot. I forget what city, but it's a big city. It's downtown. Think that, and it's happening at Christmas time. It's a very Christmas movie. And I don't know why people don't consider it a Christmas movie. It's because Christmas movies have to make you feel a certain way, which it might. It might make you feel that way. I don't want to give away what happens, but why can't it be a Christmas movie? It's got everything from Christmas in it. Christmas music, references to Santa and presents. There's lights and holiday cheer. There's Christmas parties. It screams Christmas. I don't think 10 minutes, I don't think 5 minutes go by that you're not reminded it's Christmas time. Now, of course, it's a little bit off the beaten path. If you thought that every movie I was going to mention had a mall Santa and, funny little elves or whatever, not all Christmas movies include those things. Some involve machine guns and killing. That's just it. And I stand by my opinion that this is a Christmas movie. Tell me I'm wrong. It's only opinion. So if you think I'm wrong, fine. But I'm telling you that it's not only a Christmas movie, I think it's one of the better movies out there. Now, would I put it in my top 30 movies? No. My top 50? Probably not. Top 100? I haven't really thought that out, but I consider top 100 movies, considering I've seen thousands, I would consider that an elite list. And I can probably tell you it wouldn't be in my top 100 movies overall, but I'd listen to you if you made me that argument. I'd listen to you. It's also got a fan-fucking-tastic villain, one of the best villains, I think, ever. The more I'm talking now, that might pop it into number 85 or so. But anyway, it would probably be between number 100 and number 200 as far as movies that are my top, my fave. But who knows? I haven't done that list, like I said. I just thought of the villain. Hans, is that his name? Anyway, he's a real prick. So that's 4. You get the first half of the list now, and you get the second half of the list in volume 2. And then we're going to have George Gortzos, Canadian ball hockey legend, on at some point real soon. Maybe even an extra volume 3, whatever. But anyway, here we are. It's silent right now. I'll tell you, it's silent on Tibbs Eve, which is again huge here in Newfoundland. The boys are waiting on me, and I'm speaking to no one. There's no real studio, just me and the mic. So it's still kind of surreal, isn't the word, but it's a weird feeling to know that thousands of people are going to listen to this tomorrow, the next day, whatever long it takes for all of you guys to listen and whatever it is. And I find that part of it strange, because it certainly doesn't feel like, if I was in a studio, I think I'd maybe be a little bit more professional. I'm not wearing pants. I'm wearing underwear. But yeah, so to me, I often sound like some rambling geezer from another era that has no fucking idea what he's talking about, which is why I always stress these are my opinions. But in any case, there are some people still listening, so here we go. I'm going to give you number 5 right now. Okay, now this is volume 1. I'm going to come back with volume 2. You're only getting 5 today, and the 5th is the fucking Holdovers. I would think, there's no way to know this, but I'm guessing 30% of you know the movie. But even though it only came out last year or maybe the year before, 22 or 23, Paul Giamatti and a bunch of New York prep school students, high school prep school students, prep, I guess, New York. Yeah, it's like a private school. And, you know, a lot of these kids, for different reasons, but think a common theme amongst the kids might be that their parents are so rich that they have other plans for Christmas, or maybe they're rich and have a new boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. So there's a bunch of kids that all have reasons that they're staying at this prep school or whatever it is, private school. And Paul Giamatti is a bit of a old curmudgeon teacher that, while he isn't an idiot, he's a teacher because he's a very smart guy and knows his facts. He just might be a little bit obtuse at times. So if I indulge anything else, I think I'm going to give it away, because even watching the trailer, and I watched it, this was recommended to me by somebody else. It was a big movie. I think it was like up for awards and stuff to some level. I don't know about Academy Awards, but maybe it was talked about. I mean, this was, so those who know what I'm talking about, I think, agree with me that at the very least, like, this was a decent movie. Now, it happens at Christmas, so I'm putting it on my Christmas list. And if you're into acting, it's great. If you're into a good storyline, it's great. A lot of you will be reminded, even though we all didn't go to private school in New York. I believe it's New York, New England for sure. One or the other. Like, it's, well, New England is New York, right? New England is an area, by the way, of a few states. I always had in my mind Connecticut, New York, maybe New Hampshire, New England Patriots, Massachusetts. I don't know the exact definition. In my mind, it's an area that we used to go to in the American League, and all those places are involved. I'll leave that up to you guys. Maybe I'm completely wrong. I'll look like a bozo, but I think I'm right. Anyway, so it's a New England high school. So again, we don't all have that experience, but there's definitely a lot going on that I could relate to, being fucking going to high school in Newfoundland, Washington State, and BC. My daughter can relate to, who's only in grade 9 right now. I think friends, family, humans from all shapes and sizes would relate to things in this movie. I think it's just brilliantly done, and I would definitely put that one in my top 100 movies. I really would. It would probably be closer to 100, but I would put it in there. I can say that emphatically. Yeah, it's a great movie. So there you go. There's my first 5. I mark those off that I've mentioned. And we're going to come back in a couple of days, and we're going to go through the rest of the list. If nothing else, you might not agree with my list, but if you haven't seen those movies, check them out. And, maybe let me know what you think of. Did I describe them right? Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? If you hate them, like, some of my best buddies and I get in major disagreements on music and movies. So not everybody's going to have the same taste. You might look at some of those picks and go, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Right? So I I love constructive criticism. I also love to learn things, and I love a good debate because it presents opportunities to learn. And education is not always done in a classroom. It's largely done from communication. Okay, you're downtown St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador, where I'll be tonight. I'll be at the Rock House, but if I was you, I would definitely check out the Rock House, but I would always also check out Trinity Pub, Rob Roy Confusion, the Martini Bar, Green Sleeves, and of course, the Bull and Barrel. If you're going to go somewhere, bite to eat, Blue on Water, I'm going to go there in about an hour and a half and check out Tino Borges, who runs the Bull and Barrel, but he's playing tonight at Blue, and Blue's a great restaurant. Tibbs Eve is when they have some, there are times during the year that they have musicians. This is one of them, but traditionally, Blue on Water is just a fantastic restaurant, and it's got an awesome little bar area. I would also go there, and of course, Peter Wedgwood, Wedgwood Cafe. Why wouldn't I go there and check it out? What a guy, what a place. They also do catering. Strength and balance of the body and mind, Ryan Power, power conditioning. Rope Walk Lane, check it out. Ryan Power is your man for everything fitness. I want to go to Mr. Lube. There's 2 locations in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. One's on Kemet Road. One is on Torbay Road. Live, laugh, lube. Check out the Carpet Factory while you're at it. True Hockey, take what's yours. And of course, Mugsy jeans. Love my Mugsy jeans. They're comfortable. They're stretchy. I love my Mugsy jeans. Folks, I'll be back in just a couple of days with round 2 of my favorite Christmas movies. Thank you for listening. See you guys soon.